summer tournament action is hot, appropriately, here in Las Vegas right now. We have all the information on every tournament up and down the strip, and we've gathered it together for you on Poker Tonight.
So far, the Bellagio Cup 3 Tournament Series has awarded 7 gold bracelets. As usual, our very own Christy Arnett was down on the tournament floor most of the day to give you the information you need to stay up to date with the Bellagio Cup 3 Tournament Series.
The event that started today was a $2,500 no-limit hold'em tournament. 101 entrants generated a prize pool of $245,000. There are currently about 77 players remaining, but it's still a star-studded field. 2 players who finished deep into last year's WCP main event, including Leif Forrest and Eric Molina, are still competing, as well as 2 very accomplished women players, Anna Robleski and Emmeline Boych.
Of course, Card Player will be here to let you know who emerges as the champion of the $2,500 no-limit event and pockets the first place prize of nearly $200,000. Now, to date, almost $2 million has been awarded to participants in Bellagio Cup 3 events.
In World Series of Poker news, the World Series saw 2 new events begin today. One was the $2,000 buy-in 7-card stud event, and the other was the World Championship $5,000 buy-in heads-up event. This event was supposed to begin around noon, but did not start until around 2 p.m. Some matches in this event were Freddie Deeb, who beat Daniel Negreanu, Dan Harrington, who beat Howard Lederer, and John Fan, who defeated Isabelle Mercier in first-round play. Some other pros who are remaining, Andy Black, Mike Matasso, Ted Forrest, Roland DeWolf, and Taylor Cabey.
Now, as Rich said, the tournament started late today because of the fact that Harris just kept letting people buy in. Once play did get underway, Max Pescatori was eliminated in the first round by Patrick Antonius. Pescatori came over to our studio at the Bellagio to talk about the drama surrounding the heads-up event and also to speculate on why over 100 players got a buy.
So today you played the $5,000 heads-up event. Now what happened with that? I heard it started late. I heard some people got buys on the first round. Tell me what happened over at the Rio.
Yeah, well, it's understandable that it would be a little bit confusing for everybody.
It was supposed to start at noon, right?
Well, not only that, and they told yesterday and the day before they will shut down the entries the night before. Instead, they kept it open until today at 12:15, and
a little late.
It's a little bit late, but I know that so many people would complain if they would come there to play, because actually you have a starting. If you don't have it on the sheet, it's difficult for someone. It comes there at 11 and he wants to register.
That's true.
So just because they said it the night before, it wouldn't work. But then they had this draw, and like over 100 people got a first round bye, which I thought was unusual. I mean,
they automatically moved on to the second round?
Yeah, they automatically moved on to the second round, and I don't get anything by winning the first round. I mean, it's much better to create a preliminary round where if you win, you get the money that your opponent put in the tournament.
Yeah.
So, of course, minus commission, whatever.
Yeah. That's
but
not
then
how they
plays
did it.
right, and who plays the preliminary round gets that, and then you start with a tennis type of schedule.
That makes
Instead,
sense.
They didn't do that, and of
was
course,
it random, the players that didn't have to play the first round?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know,
Yeah.
but they were. I don't know.
Okay.
I know that I picked a player, and it was Patrick Antonius.
You played Patrick Antonius?
So on top of it, of not having first round bye, I have to play one of the guys that consider one of the best ever.
What was that match like?
Well, it's fun, and it's challenging, and just by playing him in one time, I learned a few things.
So you'll be ready in the future?
Well, definitely. I mean, that's what you do. You play against best players, and then you learn from it. And just by one match, I learned a few things that I really believe would help me if I play another good players in the future. Heads up is not really my specialty, but I felt like I had still a shot to win.
Yeah.
But the cards went a little bit on his way on a couple of big hands, and but he is better player than me. Heads up, there is no doubt about it.
So
still.
Back to the tournament at the Rio today. What was the general consensus like around the room? What were people saying when they found out that it was going to start so late and there was going to be a bunch of people that didn't have to play their first match? Was everyone upset?
No, I mean, not everyone is upset, but I mean, I know they tried their best.
What did they explain what happened or why it was such a fiasco?
I don't want to be barred from Harris. I don't know. Some people were upset, but not too much. I mean, they got to do. You know, they should have organized it better. I think one of the funniest thing that I heard was because it took over 2 hours to start because it started at 10 after 2, and there was Chen, the guy that won 2 bracelets last year. I forgot his first name.
Bill Chen?
Yes, very good. I don't have very good memory.
Yeah, how do I remember that one? I don't know. That's
Yeah,
pretty good. It was Bill Chen or Jeff Madsen.
Right. Very good point. And Bill Chen was saying he's a programmer, and he could have programmed a computer to do the draw while in less time than they did it. So he could have come out with a program in less than 2 hours. And
wow.
It was quite funny.
And he's probably right. Bill Chen's a smart guy.
Right. And
he's a mathematician. He's no joke.
He's for sure telling the truth that he would have done that.
They should have asked for his help. He probably could have sketched something out.
Yeah.
So, what is the next tournament you'll be playing in, Max?
I'm going to skip the start tonight because tomorrow there is one of the tournaments that I'm looking forward to.
What's that one?
It's the 1500 rebuy Pot Limit Omaha.
Great.
Pot Limit Omaha, for some reason there's a general consensus that that's my best game.
Do you think it's your best game?
I think it's close, but I think I played so much no-limit tournaments lately that's
where
gonna
your
be,
experience lies.
Right. However, because Pot Limit Omaha is a game that people don't play that much, I do play that online. I mean, if you find me on Full Tilt, most of the time
really?
I'm gonna be on Pot Limit Omaha. So, probably it's very close. So because of the level of play is lower, it may be my best shot of winning a bracelet this year. So
you're gonna walk out of the Rio with the Omaha bracelet?
That would be awesome, of course, but just show up and do a good performance and give myself a chance. That's what I want to have. And first you make the money, and then we'll see. And
it sounds like things were pretty chaotic at the Rio today. Hopefully they have everything sorted out by now.
Yeah, I was down there for a little while today. Some of the players were upset that things could just change so quickly like that without letting them know. However, on the other hand, more people got to play in the event, so I guess it could go either way.
You can't make everyone happy.
That is very true, Lizzie. In the $2,500 six-handed event, it is now day 2. Our chip leader going into the day was Hoyt Corkins, and he is still our chip leader. Second in chips is Steve Wong. Notable players have been eliminated today in day 2 include Mimi Tran, John Friedberg, and Eric Lindgren. However, Joe Tehan started the day 3rd in chips, and he is still in contention.
Play in the six-handed tournament began day 2 today at 3 o'clock. Right before Joe Tehan sat down to his monster chip stack, he came by the card player studio to tell us how he sent Phil Ivey to the rail with a king deuce. Joe, you're about to head over to the Rio for the second day of the $2,500 six-handed event. You have a pretty nice chip stack. You're 3rd in chips going into day 2. How'd you build up that chip stack?
A lot of luck, mostly. I mean, I don't know. There were a couple hands that kind of stick out in my mind, but I don't know. I was playing tight. I was trying to play small pots and just trying to get lucky, I guess.
Which hand stuck out in your mind? Any in particular?
I guess. Well, yesterday was the first time I got to play with Phil Ivey, so that definitely stuck in my mind.
And you knocked him out, didn't you?
Yeah.
Tell us about that hand.
He sat at my table, and I had like a good feel at the table, playing with the other people at the table. It was kind of like a passive game, and I felt good. You had a good
chip stack, too?
Yeah, and I had a lot of chips. And then Phil Ivey sits at the table, and I'm like, wow.
Did he walk over with a rack of chips?
No. Well, he had some chips when he got there, and then he doubled up like right when he got under the table. So I'm like, oh my gosh, right? And so it's kind of intimidating. I'm normally not intimidated playing with any poker player, but just seeing Phil Ivey at my table is kind of weird.
Especially when you feel like you have good control over the table.
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
Oh, geez, I just got it.
And then I just got involved in a hand with him. The blinds were kind of small, and I had a lot of chips. I had maybe like 40,000 in chips, and the blinds were only 150 and 300. So I had a lot of chips, and he had like 35,000 or something. And there was a hand like there was a guy that goes all in under the gun for like 1,500, and he called. And,
Ivy called?
Ivy called, yeah. And I was in the big blind. I had like king deuce of clubs, so why not? So I called the extra 1,200, and the flop was like 10-4-5 with 2 clubs. And so there's no money like in the side pot, and so I check my flush draw, and he bets like 2,000. I'm like, all right, let's see what, so I take one off, I call, I'm thinking he has a big hand to bet, and with no side pot, I'm thinking he has a pretty big hand.
With the player all in.
So then the turn comes an ace of spades. So then I'm thinking, okay, maybe if he has like queens or jacks here, I can represent like an ace high flush draw. So I fired on the turn like 4,000, and he raised to 12,000. And it was like ace 4-5. So now I can catch a 3 or a club to win.
So
I'm like,
call.
okay, let's call again. And then the river comes a club and a jack of clubs, and I moved in for like, I think it was like maybe 18 or 19,000.
And how big was the pot at that point?
It was a pretty big pot. I mean, I don't know.
Pretty big pot.
Yeah, I mean there was probably like 30 in the pot at least. So I moved in for like 20.
19.
Yeah, and then he thinks for a while, and I think he must have had like either 3 10s or 3 aces.
Yeah.
He probably had the ace of clubs in his hand too. So I mean, I don't know. It was a weird pot. But it was
eventually called.
Yeah, he eventually called, and
what were you trying to do to make him think you didn't have the hands? Like, did you do anything special?
No.
You just stood there, totally stoic, poker faced.
Crawled under the table.
Was he like glaring at you?
Yeah, I think when I showed him the hand, I think he kind of shot me a glare, and I just looked away. I mean, I never really like knocking other people out of the tournament. I don't mind if I take their chips, but like when it comes to knocking them out, I feel kind of bad about it. So like,
poker player with a heart.
Yeah, I guess so. But
well, 6-handed. I mean, you can call a hand like that. So at that point, you must have been a really big chip leader at your table.
Yeah, I guess. I think by dinner break I had like 150 or 160,000. I don't think anyone else had more than like, maybe 80 or 90. But so I got off to like a really big lead early, and then the rest of the day I was kind of stagnant for a while. I got in some crazy hands later where I just kind of
Did you take
lost
any
it for
bad
a little
beats
bit.
yesterday that you were able to recover from? You remember any in particular?
I tried giving my chips away a couple times, but ended up getting them
You just
back.
kept getting the pots?
Yeah. But no, I mean, overall, it's just, I guess it's part of, running good, running bad, whatever, so.
So you excited about today? You think you're going to be running good again on day 2?
I really hope so. I'd love to make a final table.
Yeah?
Yeah, so.
Then it's going to be a televised final table, too, so you can have a party.
Yeah. That'll be
Make
exciting.
the final table, have a party.
Okay.
Great. Good luck today, Joe. Thanks for coming by.
Perfect.
There are 2 final tables going on at the Rio today, and the one that everybody is talking about is the $3,000 no-limit final table. The reason for that is that there are 8 players remaining, and one of them is Phil Hellmuth Jr. Phil is chasing after his 12th World Series of Poker bracelet. Now, he doesn't have many chips, but he is always a threat, and of course, he really wants this bracelet. Chip leader going into the final table was Dustin Holmes, and he still is the chip leader.
Now, if Phil could win this bracelet, does that solidify his place as the greatest no-limit tournament player that is alive today, you think?
I think so, especially to have all his bracelets being no limit, to have just won a bracelet last week. I mean, it's just incredible to make it through fields like this and make it to no limit final tables.
Especially considering, the others who were tied for 11, Doyle and Johnny, haven't really, made it that close to winning their 11th yet. If Phil would win this one, I would say he's probably the greatest no-limit tournament player there is.
I'd have to agree.
The other World Series of Poker final table going on right now is the $1,500 Raz event. The chip leader going into the event was O'Neill Longson, and he is still in the chip lead. Also at the final table include Katya Thader, Eskimo Clark, Mark Voss, Men the Master Win, who was the short stack.
Now that's everything that's going on here at the Bellagio and at the World Series of Poker. So now, without further ado, may I present to you A Moment with Mike.
And now, A Moment with Mike. This moment was brought to you by Mike the Mouth Matiso.
Thank you, Mike. It's great to have you as part of Poker Tonight.
That's it for tonight's episode, but we'll be back tomorrow, and we hope that you are too. Good night, everybody.
Good night.